your surprisingly great rates? Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal. He is JJ Buck. I'm Jeff Symbieta. You're welcome to get in today at 505-246-0610. Global basketball coach Eric Olin scheduled to be with us in the studio here at the top of the hour at 9 o'clock. Text line says, follow the big mountain for Mountain West News. John C. doesn't come through with his sources. The Monty Show already struck down the UNLV departure. The departure fees are too high, along with the departing schools' lawsuits. That's what I told you. I think the UNLV thing, I don't think it's happening. I think UNLV, now, here's to the texter. If the lawsuit goes against the Mountain West, then I think all bets are, that was coming from the departure fees to the Mountain West schools isn't there. Then I think all bets are off.
Yeah, so they didn't strike down anything. There's just still moving pieces to this.
But I
and
agree
then
with
it, eyes on, as you've said, the Big 12, and they're trying to wedge their way somehow, some way into that conversation.
Look, I read Graney's column yesterday, and he's not wrong with what UNLV has become. The Big 12, I was at Big 12 Media Day last year. It was at Allegiant Stadium. It was in Las Vegas. Brett Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12, said the Big 12 wants to be in Vegas. That's why they are there. Now, do they need UNLV to be in Vegas? No, the Pac-12 was in Vegas. They played their championship game at Allegiant, did they not? They played their basketball tournament at T-Mobile in Vegas. That you don't have to have UNLV to be in Vegas. Craig Thompson, the former commissioner of the Mountain West, used to say there's only one Las Vegas and it's in the Mountain West Conference. Well, that's cool, but other leagues went in there. The West Coast Conference, the Big West was in there. The Pac-12 was in there. Can the Big 12 get in there? They can hold high-profile events in there just like everybody else. There's plenty of venues for them to do that. Is UNLV attractive? If football continues to be good, and what Odom did there, Barry Odom did a great job turning the football program around. They're playing in an NFL facility. They just hired Dan Mullen, who won at Mississippi State, wasn't bad at Florida before he got fired there, but was SEC Coach of the Year. Dan Mullen's going to win at UNLV. They've invested. They've got a brand new football facility. Like, I don't know that I think it's far-fetched and that market to say there's no way UNLV gets into the Big 12. If the Big 12 expands again, that's probably the first place they look, right?
It is not out of the question. Absolutely.
And that's what they're thinking. And San Diego State says, well, they'll look at us too. Maybe they won't. I don't know. But that's the UNLV thing. Jeff and JJ, what are your thoughts on Mikko Rantanen? Without him, Dallas Stars lose that game and probably would have lost the Avs series too. Yeah, Ronnie. What do you have, 2 straight hat tricks now?
Back-to-back hat tricks. Both came in one single period of action, and he was absolutely worth all the drama this season.
How about those Dallas Stars? All right, when we come back, expecting to have Eric Olin in studio, the Lowell men's basketball coach. Talk hoops with him. He's JJ Buck. I'm Jeff Symbieta on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor. My dad and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mirror here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Adventure is leading the charge in the NIL space. And you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Try this shit better than all my intentions. Locked in shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is Pro View. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows.
It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal. Here's Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
Global basketball is a year-round thing in the state, as you well know. The interest is high. The passion is insane. You got a new head basketball coach, and he's putting together a roster. And a roster that's coming together from all kinds of angles and all different places. It's the opening drive. He is JJ Buck. I'm Jeff Symbieta. Thank you for being with us on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. What was it, a few weeks ago? Maybe it feels like a month ago. Maybe it feels like yesterday. Maybe it feels like a year ago. Eric Olin was named the head basketball coach at the University of New Mexico, and since then he's been putting together a roster. There's 11 players. I don't know that you can talk about all 11. I think you can talk about 9 of them. I think they're official. But Eric Olin is in studio with us for the first time. It's great to see you. Congratulations on the position. I guess is it new until you play a game yet? Is that when it's new?
Yeah, I don't know when the new label will wear off. Probably at least that long. I think for me, when I'm not living in a hotel, it'll feel a little less.
Can you get him out of a hotel, please?
We're working on that. Some of that's our we're working through the financing and of the loans and all that for closing on the house. But we're fired up to be here. It's we're just really excited.
Eric, I don't think people understand, right? I mean, when you take a job like this, you've been in San Diego for 21 years, which is America's finest city is a fair moniker for it, right? But not only do you move, you take over a new job, you've got 100% turnover on a roster, you got a family that you've got to move, you got a home that you've got to go figure out. I don't know how you prioritize. I guess your family's got to come first, but your job's got to come first, and everything. The complexity of this is insane. I don't think people understand it.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts to this transition, and obviously the work component with building a staff and a roster from scratch, really, with obviously no carryover, but excited about how that's going, and then trying to do that while taking the steps for my family to come out. And fortunately for me, my wife is amazing and takes care of the bulk of the things that are really important, so that I'm able to just do the basketball part for the most part. But yeah, there's a lot of back and forth. I've been on that Southwest flight back to San Diego.
I know that flight.
Just about every week. So thankfully it's not very full every time, so it's been pretty easy. But I'm looking forward to having the family out here, looking forward to having the roster complete, and we're making progress in all those areas, so just one day at a time.
He's Eric Olin, Lobo men's basketball coach. Let's hit on the roster. JJ and I talked about it. I don't know if it's best to just completely rebuild because they're all yours. I don't know what the strategy was. I don't know how much you can share as far as conversations with guys who were on the roster that were considering coming back. But is it, and I guess it'll be ideal because it'll be the way it is. It'll all be yours. But is it ideal to completely start from scratch and have it all yours, or would you have preferred to keep some of those guys? And how did some of those conversations go?
Yeah, I think there's pros and cons to both things. I certainly think there's the potential for value of having players in the program who have been there before and have some familiarity with it. Unfortunately, that didn't really play out for us that way. And some of that's just the timing. Like, it's difficult timing with kind of the urgency that players have in the portal and making sure that they find a good place, and new staff coming in and all the things that we're trying to accomplish, and then trying to figure out which, if any, of those players fit how we're going to play would be a good fit, and so I think that some of the timing makes that difficult, because when I show up and they already have visits planned, and then there's a process of trying to evaluate and see if there's a fit, and and sometimes those things just don't line up from a timing standpoint. So yeah, we had conversations with players about potential staying, and none of those worked out, and so we're focused to the portal and some of the guys that were with us prior in UC San Diego who are coming out, and but we're excited about the group we're putting together. We think we're adding good players weekly, so
almost daily.
Depends on the week. So it's been an interesting process trying to start it from scratch and also build your staff at the same time, and so there's a lot of things that are kind of variables and moving parts, but we're working through them, and I like the direction we're going.
What is the staff building process like for you in terms of people I have relationships with and knowing, this might be an opportunity that they want to take as well? How does that go for you when you wanted to finalize who you wanted to bring with you?
I think building your staff is I think about it in a similar way to building your roster, in that you want complementary skill sets. You want guys who bring different things, right? We don't want everybody who thinks the same way or has the exact same experiences. So we want some kind of diversity of thought, different skill sets, different focuses, whether that's the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball on the court, and there's strengths and weaknesses off the court, right? Like your administration, your recruiting, experience doing the schedule, all kinds of different factors. And so we had a couple guys who were coming with us from UC San Diego that I had a lot of familiarity with and had worked with previously, and so that was a nice foundation to have. And then we added a couple more that we think really fill in the gaps of what we needed in terms of skill set wise and experience. And so I feel great about the staff. Ultimately, at the end of the day, for me, it's always really important to make sure we're bringing guys in for our staff that understand that this is about the players and that we're here to serve them and help them have success. And if our players have success, everybody will benefit, right? And so kind of that sort of servant leadership mindset is something that's important to us, and something I think we certainly found with this group.
What's the process been like for you? The challenges as a head coach, but you take a new job, brand new place, the nerves, the excitement. What's it like as you try to deal with everything that you're feeling about this transition?
Yeah, I think I'm learning something different every day. There's
a few things.
Yeah, definitely. In a lot of different ways, right? In terms of ultimately basketball is basketball, but like how you go about it, how you build your team is affected by your circumstances and your situation at each institution, and everybody's sort of constrained by whatever the factors are that impact them, and so every place is different that way, and just sort of trying to understand what those factors are, how we're impacted in different ways, and or maybe not impacted, and we have the ability to do some things here that we couldn't do at UC San Diego in terms of the roster building, and that's a real positive for us. So there's different factors every time at every place, and so we're kind of learning how to operate best in this environment and we're figuring that out on a daily basis. So it's it's kind of like everything else. You think you have an idea about something, and then once you get there, you figure out the reality.
So in that vein, as you say, you construct your team depending on the circumstances. What's the philosophy as you go through this? Because you get to recreate this whole roster, right? You got transfers from USC and UC San Diego. You've got high school players. You got a commit yesterday, the Summit League sixth man of the year that I know you can't get into that one yet, but Iowa State. They're coming from everywhere. You got a lot of guys, 6'4" to 6'9" that feel like swing players in transition. I know you played 5 out at UC San Diego. So what's been the philosophy? Do you need another big, is because you basically have a blank canvas?
Yeah. So our philosophy is to get the best players we can, and then it's our job to put them in position to be successful. But we also have some framework of how we want to play and who's going to be successful there. And so one of the things we really value is versatility, right? And I think if you look at our roster, you can see a lot of versatility. You kind of talked about the size. Like we don't, we do have one 7-footer, which I know what people were excited about getting a 7-footer in there, but we're excited about JT. But we also, for the most part, we have a lot of interchangeable parts. We're pretty switchable.
Is that the positionless basketball we hear about all the time now?
Yeah, a little bit. And for us, positionless is a pretty good word for it, because we switch a fair amount defensively. So like positionless in the sense that matchups don't matter for us, right? If we're switching ball screens or we're doing a little bit of matchup zone and we're switching on and off the ball, then you're guarding multiple players on every possession. And then on the other side of the ball, because we play 5-out, because we like to have shooting in the front court, we see some switching the other way, right? Like that's a pretty standard way for defense to counter front court shooting would be to switch and not give up, like a pick and pop or something like that. So now if the defense is switching and we're switching, like those matchups really become less important on both sides of it. And if that's something that we're doing on a daily basis and working on all year, and maybe our opponent doesn't play that way all the time, and now they have to switch or get switched, and they're less comfortable in that, there's a potential for advantage there. It doesn't always play out that way, but so we want to be versatile, and I think you see that in some of the roster building where you have a lot of guys in that sort of 6'4" to 6'8" range, and that are interchangeable in how they play, and so we're certainly looking for that. I think that's something
that's
we've really
what you recruited
accomplished. And so you can see that in the roster is that we're pretty versatile, we're pretty switchable, and we feel like that's we're in a pretty good place from the versatility standpoint. We're still actively recruiting and filling out the roster, and we have some needs, and we're working to fill those. But we like where we are right now.
Eric Olin is in studio. He's Lowell men's basketball coach. We got to take this break. When we come back, I want to get into a little bit the perception of the program as you go out and recruit, how you're being received, some of the stuff that's coming in, and just how you perceive players playing it, from one league to the next. Eric Olin's in studio. We'll continue the conversation with the Lowell men's basketball coach next on the Opening Drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Join 90.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space, and you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Show that shit better than all my intentions. Locked in, show that you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is Pro View. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on Pro View Networks.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Spell, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Bring it back. These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
They use the term mid-major. I hate the term. So I'll say non-power conference, right? Because you're saying you got your 5 power conference. 41 coaching changes at that level. And they rated you as the best hire. They rated, like, the New Mexico move was the best move. Eric Olin was. That's got to be cool. How much attention do you pay to stuff like that? And what is the perception of the program? As you've gone out and recruited now, and I'm going to guess a lot of these guys you've had contact with, you've known before. So maybe they're coming for Eric Olin as opposed to New Mexico. But what's the perception of New Mexico been?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think New Mexico in and of itself has a significant draw, and it's a lot easier to say, hey, come play in front of 15,000 in arguably the best college basketball environment in the country. You know, like, so I think that's a big part of it. As it relates to me specifically, like, I don't really pay any attention.
You saw it though, right? I mean, it's got to be.
I haven't seen that, but
I'll send it to you. Have you seen it? Yeah, I'll get that to you.
Yeah, no, I mean, all that's to be determined, you know, and what people say on the internet or what, none of it matters, right? Like, you got to go out and play the games. You got to have to put a good product on the floor. And so, you know, if we do that, then, you know, maybe that's accurate. And if we don't, it's wrong. So it's really just about what we can do in terms of building teams and playing good basketball. And if we put good basketball on the floor and we have success and we win games, then all the things, everything comes from that, right? And so,
and people say what they say anyway.
Yeah, and you can't really control any of that, so we try to focus on the stuff we can control. But I mean, I guess it's better than people saying it's the worst decision. You know, I'll take it. But
yeah, you don't have to listen to the fans after the local fans after all that mess.
So, but I do think that, you know, New Mexico in and of itself, the atmosphere, all the things that make this program special, right? And it's not the coaches, right? There's been coaches here before me, you know, and they've had success, right? And a big part of people's success here is the program, is the atmosphere, is the enthusiasm around it,
the passion.
You know, yeah, absolutely. It's what everybody's trying to create, right? So when people ask me about, oh, how do you feel about the expectations, or I was like, man, we love that, we want that. Everybody is looking for that in college basketball, you know. And will there be a day where, you know, after, you know, there's frustration when it's not going, you know, if we have a rough stretch or something, and like, yeah, sure, probably, but big picture wise, you're looking for that in your college basketball.
Maybe this is a question for months from now. But for you, like UC San Diego, you built a program there that was Division II, and I've lived there. UC San Diego doesn't get the press there. You know, at the time it was the Chargers, and you're behind the Padres and San Diego State, and all the things that are there. And you know, I mean, I'm not going to ask you how you deal with the pressure, but do you feel the adjustment already as far as being, you know, kind of the big fish in the pond as opposed to, you know, second, third page of the sports page there? Yeah,
well, certainly more people who want to talk to me.
Yeah.
You know, that's.
I'd want to talk to you there anyway, just so you know. If we were in San Diego, I'd still want to talk to you.
I appreciate that, you know, and it's yeah, there's a difference there, but again, that's a benefit, that's a perk, right? Like, and so we're excited about that, and you know, we want to be in a place that has that kind of passion, and you know, as it pertains to recruiting, I think it's a real selling point. And you know, the other aspect that, you know, is stylistically we play a little different than, you know, maybe the general college basketball team, and so I think when we are aligned with players on how they see their game and how we see their game and how it's going to fit in what we're doing, typically the recruiting part gets easier, right? If we kind of have differences in how we view things, and we aren't necessarily aligned on what their best basketball looks like, then that process gets a little more difficult.
You know, how much has that recruiting part changed? Because you want to lean on your core philosophy still, you know, whether it's, you know, it's character, effort, skill, ability, but then, you know, with the name, image, and likeness piece, and that being such a part of the conversation, you know, have you had to adapt how you do it, or is it just, hey, these are my principles, and this just happens to be something else that, you know, we have to answer as a number for some players?
by and large, it's pretty much the same process in terms of how we evaluate what we're looking for. You know, there's different factors in the discussion now about what it's going to take to get players to come to New Mexico and be part of our team. But in terms of our process as a coaching staff and the evaluation and the recruitment and kind of pitching our vision for them and showing them how they're going to have success and sort of the big picture ideas of how we want to build a team and what we want that to look like and what we want the product on the floor to look like, that stuff is not really different. You know, we're recruiting different players than we were at UC San Diego. We're able to be involved with a different level of talent, you know, in terms of the players that are interested and that we're able to attract here at New Mexico. But the philosophical approach is basically the same for us.
Is that because of the league in which you play or the NIL opportunities?
I think it's all of the above, right? Like there's a lot of factors. We kind of talked at the beginning about the constraints of your situation being different at every place, you know. So the league is different. The NIL is different. The academic component is different. At UC San Diego, the academic requirements that we dealt with
quite stringent.
Yeah, we're some of the most difficult in the country. So our pool to recruit from there was very small, and we couldn't recruit everybody. You needed to have, you know, a 3.5 GPA at a high school, and, you know, certain GPA in classes as a transfer that made it difficult. So there were some constraints there that don't exist here that you know, allow us to recruit a wider range of player, and the bigger you can get your pool, the more chances there's more talent in that pool.
Eric Olin's in studio, Liberal men's basketball coach. To that point, and you brought a couple players with you, and Chris Howell was terrific at UC San Diego for you, as was Milos. You got guys that are coming up, for, whether it's from the Summit League, whether it's Division II, Point Loma Nazarene. You got to. I mean, I can't wait to see Hop plays Luke, right? Luke Hop. I can't wait to see him play because he was a dynamic scorer at Point Loma Nazarene. But there's that concern, right? How does a player transfer from one level, Division II up, or even from the Big West to the Mountain West? And I know you've heard the questions about you. He won at the Big West. How does he win here? I think you and I both watch players come up from different levels. Like Colorado State's made a living out of this, right? Finding players at Division II and in other leagues. How do you answer that question? And how do you evaluate a guy who's playing, whether it's in the Big West or whether it's at Point Loma Nazarene, and say, yeah, that will translate and be good at what we're trying to do?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's something that we've done at a pretty high level, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like that's how we built our team at UC San Diego, and you know, really having guys come up from, you know, it's a significant jump from Division II to the Big West, right? And you know, there are players who can make that jump there, especially if you get the fit part right. I think we have a good understanding, and I think we do a pretty good job in the process of explaining to the players, you know, how we see that translation, how we see that fit, what we're going to need them to do. We talk to them about some of the things maybe we need them to do less of. You know, hey, this part of your game, we don't know if it's going to translate the same way. So you need to be open to making adjustments in that area if you're going to have success in the Mountain West, right? So kind of talking about the things that they do well and we think translate exactly, and some of the things that maybe don't. And then if we can kind of generate some buy-in in their style of play, and because there's a lot of players who are good enough, but they also, some of those players, their margin for error is less.
Sure.
If they're not on the higher end of the talent spectrum, but it doesn't mean they can't play at the level. It just means they have to play to their strengths more. They have to understand who they are as players and do the things that they do really well.
And that's your job.
A huge percentage of the time. So yeah, it's our job to help them understand that, not just what that looks like, but then how to go out and execute it and put them in position to do those things. So we have those conversations on the front end, so they have a good idea of, you know, hey, these are the things that are coming with me. And we also, through experience, understand which aspects of people's game is going to translate to the way that we play, which things that we're looking for. We're trying to identify some key areas at different positions and, you know, make sure our skill sets make sense. We don't want everybody to be
same.
Yeah, we don't want 10 of the same guys are all just long and athletic and they can guard and nobody can dribble, pass, and shoot, right? Like, you don't want everybody who can shoot it and can pass it and then they can't guard because they're not athletic enough.
Just watch the Houston Rockets, man. They were great inside. They play defense, but they can't.
I was going to say, maybe talk about the Boston Celtics. Right. all the threes start missing. And they're like, all right, what do we got to do now?
They missed 75 threes in 2 games. It's just incredible.
That's a little bit of outlier shooting luck, though. Like I actually I like the way that the Celtics are built.
Sure. I mean, they won a championship.
Yeah.
All right. You got one more segment in you?
Yeah.
I appreciate you staying here. Eric Olin is in studio. I want to talk to you a little bit about the Mountain West moving forward, in the construction of the league and what it may look like moving forward. We'll continue to talk about roster construction, maybe a little bit about what you learned about the fan base in the month that you've been here. Eric Olin is the Lobo men's basketball coach. He's in studio with us. JJ Buck and me, Jeff Symbieta on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
You're listening to the Jim Rome Show.
There's a reason, JJ. Did no starting.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is Pro View. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on Pro View Networks.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Bluebell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck. Lobo men's basketball coach Eric Olin is in as the Lobo roster comes into fruition and starts to make sense. Are you working on the schedule too? Like, you're doing that as well, right? How's the schedule? Like, it's usually about now, JJ, everybody's yelling, well, what's the schedule look like? Who the hell are they playing? And nobody's even asked that question yet, but I know you're working on that as well in the non-conference.
Yeah, we're working on that. We inherited a couple games, so there's a few on the schedule.
You got VCU on the road, right?
That's right.
What else did you inherit? You got the New Mexico State game.
New Mexico State on the road, and we will we have the Hall of Fame MTE in Kansas City with Nebraska, Mississippi State, and Kansas State. Yeah. So we got a good start to it. We got to add some home games, and so we're working to bring some teams to the pit and put the rest of the schedule together. But it's all the thing. We're working on all the things all the time.
Your business, like any other, right? It's relationships, and I'm going to assume a lot of the guys that you're recruiting, you've had prior relationships with, and I got to believe that goes into the scheduling as well, right? You call coaches and with whom you've had relationships, or maybe your staff does, and And I don't know that people really understand the non-conference scheduling thing. Everybody says, why can't they come to the Pit? Well, I mean, give me the advantage. Texas Tech comes to the Pit. Yeah, it's a 4-hour drive, but what's the advantage for them? It's really hard to get people in here, isn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure. And you know, I think in particular the higher level teams they don't play road games. You know, they don't really have to, and so they don't. They'll play some neutral, and but you don't see a lot of like true road games amongst the Power 4 or 5 or whatever you call those conferences.
I think there's 5 in basketball. The Big East counts, right?
Yeah, you don't see them playing a lot of true road games. I mean, you get like your ACC, SEC challenge or something where they're forced into it. But outside of those type of events, like it's mostly neutrals and they play home games. And so, scheduling is certainly a challenge, and it's something that there's just a lot of variables to consider in that. It's opponents, it's dates, it's
where they are in the net, right? Because you're setting yourself up where when you go into league play, really you've got to be set up to be in a position to get an at-large with the metrics if you don't win your conference tournament.
Yeah, metrics are huge, and you have to put yourself in position to have a quality resume, and both from a predictive standpoint in terms of the quality of play that your team has had. So it's not just the results, but it's about how well you're playing, and there's a predictive metric component to the metrics of, the computers say it on a neutral court your team would be in this situation, right? Like, and then there's the kind of the performance metrics that are more about like, who did you play, who did you beat, what does your resume look like? And so there's a combination of things there and you have to consider all of those things in how you put your schedule together in order to put yourself in position for potential at-large opportunities.
It's in progress, boys and girls. Eric Olin's in studio here on the Sports Animal.
I know, especially with all the roster turnover across the board, what things do you look at? What trends do you try to watch, whether it comes to scheduling or numbers that matter to you?
Well, so we're going to look at at opponents and their style of play and how it matches up to ours. We're going to look at I think it's much harder in today's age to kind of predict where people are going to land in the net and which quad they're going to be in. So you can use a little bit of history. A lot of people look at like a 3-year average of where they've been, but that's so it's a little volatile, honestly, with all the turnover. So you have to sort of try to evaluate and guess where they're going to be as a team, and understand, like, is there longevity there? Is it a new staff? Is it going to be totally different? Is it better or worse? And try to factor those things in as well. But yeah, scheduling is much more art than science, and it's something that we're working on all the time. And for us, we also have to think about your own team, right? Like, we have 15 new players. We don't have a lot of continuity. I would expect our team to play much better as the season goes on. So we want to keep that in mind as well as we schedule.
Richard used to say that last year, right? He said he put that schedule together thinking he was going to have JT Toppin, and then he didn't, and then that was the schedule he had. It's and you don't know. You could schedule a team that was top 25 last year, like Baylor. Baylor lost everybody. I have no idea. Nobody knows what Baylor's going to be. Indiana's the same way, right? They lost their whole, just like you guys did. Something you can't control is what the league looks like. And as you look at the Mountain West looking forward, and I know this was a big part of the conversation when you took the job, with the split coming, I mean, unless something crazy happens after this coming year, your thoughts on what the league looks like? Nobody's going to sit here and say, hey, it's great that San Diego State and Colorado State and Boise State are losing, but your league goes on. So just your thoughts with Grand Canyon coming in and where the Mountain West goes and how it looks after this coming year.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that's to be determined. What I feel confident about is that New Mexico will be positioned to compete at the top of whatever league we're in, right? And whatever league that looks like. And so I have a lot of confidence in that. And so that's really, that's the part that we can control. That's our job, is to, put us in position to have success and contend for championships in whatever the league looks like. And I think that, Fernando Lovo and the admin are really focused on trying to put ourselves in a good situation in every possible avenue and exploring all kinds of different things, but there's things that, like, as we go into the new league, what will the tournament look like, right? Will the structure be the same? Will we go to more of a double bye to protect seeds? Like, I think those are things that are really important, and that it's important for us to have a voice within the conference of trying to give our opinions about what's important in the new league and how we can best position ourselves. Because I think it's fair for everyone to say, like, okay, with the departures, the new Mountain West is likely not to be a 4-bid conference, right? And so if we're not going to have the multiple bids,
well, it should still be multiple bid. I mean, that should be the goal, shouldn't it?
Sure, that's the goal.
I mean, whether it's UNLV in New Mexico and Nevada, or Grand Canyon in New Mexico and whomever, right?
Yeah, but I think the number of those is in question, right?
That's fair.
And so if the number's going down, then I think there should be conversation about how do we structure things both in conference play. What's the regular season look like? How many games is that? Is it a true round robin? Are we going to, double buys in the conference tournaments? Like, I think how things are structured specifically in men's basketball is a really important aspect of the changes that are coming, because those are important things to help the best teams in the new Mountain West position themselves for continued bids and continued success.
Do you see a crossover in scheduling non-conference between the teams who left the Mountain West and like the San Diego States, Boise States, Colorado States, Fresno State? Do you see, or is there bad blood there, or is that something you're just not familiar enough with yet?
Well, on my end, I mean,
there's no bad blood for you.
There's no bad blood for me, but I think that, again, that's going to go back to the conversation we had about scheduling.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own agenda about what they need to do to build their schedule in the non-conference. And the only way to get games agreed on is to have those things aligned.
Well, like, Eric, San Diego State, New Mexico should continue to play. Like, don't you think? I mean, you're familiar with that, right?
Sure.
From both sides of it. I know you weren't at San Diego State, but you were in that city. That's been a terrific rivalry over the last 2 decades for the most part. Like, I think fans here, and I think even now, they don't want to come to the pit because something voodoo about altitude and you can't breathe or whatever it is, and you can't shoot. But don't you think that, like, something like that should continue?
Yeah, I mean, all those things, we would love for all those things to continue, right? Like, I think that's everybody would love that. But I think that's still all to be determined based on how everybody views that game, its metrics, how it'll impact their schedule. Are they like, all of those things are going to get factored in, and that's where it's hard to get alignment on what's best for your schedule and your team against with all the highest level teams, because everybody kind of has their own agenda and their own focus in that. And so it's a challenge there. So it's something that we'll definitely explore and try to accomplish with our schedule, because we're trying, I think in the future Mountain West, when those teams leave, it'll make sense for us to be more aggressive in our non-conference. But it's one thing to just say, hey, we're going to be more aggressive, and it's another to
get it done,
actually get the deals done and get teams, especially to come here, right? So that'll be all a work in progress and a challenge with the changing landscape.
With things being to be determined, it's kind of a lot of college athletics. So focusing on a day-to-day is what you have to do, but how much do you consume of just the potential lawsuits or things that could be changing, house settlement, like where you don't know the answer, but you might need to just know a little bit of what's going on?
Yeah, I have a basic understanding, maybe maybe a little better than that relative to the general college basketball fan, but I'm certainly no lawyer, and I don't understand all the intricacies of it all. But we're trying to pay attention. We're trying to understand what's coming. We try to take in as much information as we can, but sometimes it gets a little bit overwhelming in terms of all the moving pieces with that. And the newest one that everyone's talking about is the roster limits, and so they're going to be voluntary maybe, but some people can go over and some people can't, and there's going to be designations potentially. So you kind of try to get the general idea of what they're discussing, and then I try to just then wait for the decision, because if you get caught up in every potential outcome, and you can really get lost in a rabbit hole of legalese.
But yet you got to be prepared for it, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like you can't jump down the hole. But alumni, and I'm going to assume you probably are familiar with the four walls of your office and maybe your assistant's office, and that's what as you put this thing together. But there's so many proud Lobo alumni that affiliate with the program. Many who live in the market, many who don't. as you build and continue to grow, how important is it to embrace it? And I know it's important. How do you go about doing that? Because everybody wants to be involved, everybody wants to be reached out to, and you've got some pretty prominent people and a good history here.
Yeah, I mean, this place has got a ton of history, and I think that's something that hopefully I will have more time to do in the coming months. I think once I can get my family back out here and I'm not flying back and forth all the time.
And you get a roster and
we have a roster built,
and
but I think all of that is just it's engagement, it's time commitment, it's just interactions. It's like you have to show up and do it. So. I'm excited to meet everybody, like we talked about at the beginning, the alumni, the fan base, like that's what makes this place special. That's what makes this place different. And, we absolutely want to embrace that. We want to get to know everybody. We're really excited to be here. And so we're really looking forward to that aspect of it.
Have you got to enjoy anything yet? The sunsets, the foods, the smells, the vistas, the golf course, the hiking, anything? Or is it just basically?
I'm somewhat familiar with a lot of these downtown hotels. And,
I bet you are.
So I'm looking forward to branching out my experiences. I've been to a few restaurants just with the visits and all the things, but I certainly don't feel like I've gotten the full Albuquerque experience yet. But I'm very much looking forward to it.
I'll give it a minute. I appreciate you spending some time, and JJ, I know JJ does as well. Thank you for spending some time with us. We'll do this again. Looking forward to it as the roster comes into fruition and the schedule. But thanks for coming by, letting our audience get to know you a little bit. And as the process goes through, it's going to be fun. And it looks like it looks like you're at ease and you're enjoying it and you're confident what you're doing, obviously. And it's going to be exciting to watch it play out.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. We're excited about how things are going. And, appreciate you having me on. It's a pleasure to be here and look forward to doing it again in the future.
All right, we'll see you soon. He is Eric Olin. We'll wrap you up when we get back. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Cheese is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. Our law firm was founded by my father, Thibaut J. Chavez, with one goal, to get New Mexicans the help they need. That's why we built a different kind of law firm. We focus on family values, dedicated service, and we make a real contribution by giving back to our communities. We can't change what happened to you or your loved ones, but we can help you get back on the road to recovery. We're by your side, and we're still as local as red and green.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfasfa.org. That's nmfasfa.org.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gala Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66, built by generations past.
What are we doing? Is the conference tournament going to change? Is it going to be a model where there's some buys involved? And I think that would be exceptional. I've talked about that a lot on the women's side, even with the conference as is. Right now, when you are in a 1 or potentially 2 bid conference, you need to be thinking about things like that and protecting your top seeds and doing what you can. You still have to earn it. But I do think that's fascinating. It's something that is absolutely going to be on the table after this year. If things stay the course and teams that are leaving, the teams that are coming in, it's going to look a lot different. So you have to have those not just conference scheduling discussions, but tournament discussions.
Well, the West Coast Conference has done that for years, protecting Gonzaga and St. Mary's, right? They've been your 2 best teams, and they don't need you playing 3 or 4 rounds and having Gonzaga get beat by Pepperdine in the first round and being in jeopardy. What they've done is their top 2 teams have been buyed into the semifinal round, right? You look at the Big East has done that. The SEC does that. There's multiple buys. Is that something you'd want? There's different ways to set up. How many teams are going to be in the new Mountain West? It's how many were left? There's 6 left, right? It's New Mexico, Air Force, Wyoming, UNLV, San Jose State, and was anybody else left? Then Hawaii, UC Davis, UTEP. Is it only 8 in basketball? Grand Canyon is 9. Yeah, I don't know how many buys you can make with 9 teams or 10 teams. Did I miss something there? Did I miss a team there? 6 left or 5 left? 5 left. That means 6 had to stay, right? New Mexico, Air Force, UNLV, San Jose State, Nevada, and Wyoming. Yeah, so six state. I forgot Nevada. So you take the 6 plus Hawaii, UTEP, and Grand Canyon, and UC Davis. So there's 10 in basketball. All right. I mean, can you do that? I imagine you can. But I liked his thoughts on the scheduling. You just seen him light up when we talked about the Celtics way of basketball. He loves that. So you're going to see a lot of 3-pointers now. I mean, they're going to play 5 out.
Missoula.
He likes to shoot the ball. He likes, he's got a 7-footer, and he said, he alluded, we got some needs to which we're still recruiting. But all these guys, whether they're 6'4" to 6'9", they're not all the same. And that's what he said. They can't all be the same. Some have to D, some have to shoot, some have to drive, some have to penetrate, yeah. But he gave you an idea how he's building his team and how he wants to play. And I brought up the word positionless basketball, but he took it and ran, and I guess those are 2 words. But he kind of expounded on that a little bit, right?
Yeah, and I think it's one of the things that we've been discussing. It doesn't mean that everyone can do something. It's more about versatility defensively. In switches and being able to defend positions as opposed to being locked into, having 2 or 3 guys on the court that are going to be on islands and can only be in one specific spot defensively.
But it's also about creating problems on the other side, right?
Yes. Using your athleticism to avoid challenges on one end and create them on the other.
Yeah. I think all that's right. I think all that's right. I hope you enjoyed that. If you missed some of it, it'll be available wherever you get your podcast, certainly on our website, sportsanimалabq.com. You go click on the opening drive, and it will be there, and you'll have an opportunity to listen to that again or share it, or if you missed some of it. But appreciate Eric Olin doing that. It's good. There's going to be a transition for Eric too. And I brought that up. I've lived in San Diego. UC San Diego basketball. Now I know it's changed a little bit over the years since they moved up to the Big West, but they're not the headline in San Diego sports scene, right? I mean, you've got the Padres, you've got San Diego State, you got pro hockey there, minor league hockey, and you've got MLS is in there now, right? And so UC San Diego State kind of hides, and there's no hiding. And I think he's ready for that. I don't want to ask him how he's dealing with it, because I think that's a question, certainly once he's dealt with it. But it's going to be different, and he understands everything you do here is much more amplified than it was at UC San Diego, and I think that's okay. And I thought it was good. I wanted his thoughts on players transitioning to the Mountain West, whether it's from the Big West, whether it's from the Summit League, whether it's from Division II. And he didn't get into Luke Hop, but I'm excited to see Luke Hop play.
Its potential is forecasting things like anything else, but if you can play at an all-American level at Division II with these players we've seen that come up, I'm taking a chance on you. Absolutely.
Yes, I am. All right. Hope you enjoyed that. Tomorrow, Kenny Thomas will be in. We got a little change in schedule on the Friday. Kenny's going to be in at 8:00 tomorrow morning. We'll kick it with Kenny, the former Lobo All-America and 11-year NBA pro. So we'll talk to him about what happens tonight in the NBA. You're going to get Golden State Game 2 in Minnesota. No Stephen Curry for the Warriors. They're up 1-0 in the series. And we'll talk to him certainly about the Knicks comeback wins, plural. They did it again last night. Down by 20. They beat the Celtics 91-90 in Boston. So they got a 2-0 lead heading back to the Garden in New York. And the Thunder beating the trumpet out of the Nuggets 149-106. That series is one game apiece. You can beat the hell out of me, and I can beat you by 1. They all count the same. Thank you to Eric Olin, Lobo men's basketball coach. He was in studio with us today. Adrian, great work on the visuals, getting all 3 of our beautiful faces on that screen. The Herd with Colin Cowherd's next. The Jim Rome Show will follow that. 2 Men On comes in at 4. You get Isotopes Baseball. They're playing the Oklahoma City Comets. And then we're back with award-winning radio tomorrow morning. We will start at 7 a.m. Great job, Adrian. He is J.J. Buck. I'm Jeff Symbieta. Big day for you?
Huge day.
Enjoy it. Be good to each other, please. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We'll smell you tomorrow.
for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans.